Let me abide by the existing protocol. I don't want to make any mistake holding the titles, etc. before you I'm ushered up. I can't rely there, I've seen you. Thank you. So, excuse me if I go very general. Your Excellencies, may I recognize the Governor, the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, and also let me recognize the Governor of Ogun State. I'm told he is on his way. That is why his Chief of Staff will refuse him to take the seat when he was called earlier on. But he is there just in case if he doesn't arrive. Your Excellencies, members of the diplomatic corps as well, my Lord, spiritual and temporal, Your Royal Highnesses. Now, this is why I said I've got to be very careful. I think if you would allow me, just if I'm going to say, Your Royal Highnesses, the Oni of Ife, okay, please, I'm not going to go through that title. But the title is there, so you apply the title correctly. And the Obi of Onitsha, you also apply the title properly. And there are so many eminent people here that I cannot just mention their name. There are former excellencies. I can sort of see the former governor, of Ogun State here, looking brilliant as usual. So let me just say, all of you distinguished, eminent ladies and gentlemen, and since there are youth here, and of course this lecture is going to emphasize more on youth, and even the lecturer himself, I think he is not claiming that he is as old as Chief Awolowo, otherwise he will be 108 today. So to all the youth here, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here and welcome. I'm indeed very happy that I'm able to be here today as chairman of this occasion, the 2017 Obafemi Awolowo Commemorative Birthday Lecture that ordinarily should have been the third in the series of the Obafemi Awolowo Prize for Leadership. It is my pleasure to warmly and sincerely welcome everyone to this commemorative birthday lecture in honor of the late elder statesman and father, certainly we can call him also father of Nigeria, Chief Obafemi Jeremiah Awolowo. I'm sure a lot of you know that name. You do. The only one we know is Obafemi and Jeremiah, wasn't it? Who would have been 108 years old today. Well, we say happy birthday and many happy returns. Wherever he is, I understand that no prize will be given out this year for the simple reason that the selection committee felt that nominees fell short of meeting the criterion of demonstrable evidence of substantial achievements across the board. Now, that is Chief Awolowo speaking by proxy. Now that was his quote, not mine. He never did anything in half measure. For him, you either did something very well or not, or not at all. Nigerian children say, NEPA. As far as they're concerned, it must be NEPA that wrote the So it is instructive that today's lecture, titled The Awolowo Legacy and its Message for Nigerian Youth, is to be delivered by one of Chief Awolowo's many disciples, Professor Banji Akintoye, an eminent historian. I think I said earlier on, yes, don't think he was, at that time he was a young man when he was the disciple of Chief Awolowo. Otherwise, we'll be thinking that he is 108 years old. I say this because the lecturer has been fortunate to have had very close personal and political ties with the late sage. He therefore would be sharing first-hand experience with us today. It is also instructive that this lecture is directed at Nigerian youth, particularly at a difficult period when they need to benefit from the wisdom of age. It could reasonably be said that the late Chief Awolowo was purpose created by God to intervene and succeed at difficult periods. In his personal life, he overcame adversity. He walked with me, I'm sure many of you here will remember, he walked with me at a very difficult period in the life of our country. He had shared and demonstrated a vision of how to successfully turn difficult situations around. It therefore is no coincidence that this lecture aims to examine the legacy of the great man with a view to enabling his message of hope in young people who will eventually have to make vital contributions to shaping the destiny of our nation. My colleagues and I in the Supreme Council 1966 and 75, and also the Federal Executive Council that period, who were relatively young when we assumed the mantle of leadership of Nigeria. Chief Awolowo teamed up with us and several dedicated civil servants to weather great turbulence. Together, we succeeded in keeping Nigeria one without borrowing a kobo. So many things in a stood, so many things, so many things stood out. So many things stood out about the sage: loyalty, perseverance, focus, hard work, and service to the people. For me, he used use his life to preach a message of hope, for which two key traits were most needed. Will dissolve like salt in water, because often adversity will test the stuff that an individual is made of. I believe Professor Akintoye will dwell more on this and more in his lecture. Since my role is basically to set the tone of this lecture, I believe my job is already done. But before I call up our distinguished lecturer, Professor Akintoye, permit me to remix several quotes of the late Chief Awolowo in the hope that the final cut will speak to our young people as well as people in position of authority, so they all better understand the mood of the time we are in and the direction in which we should be headed. And I quote, "Life is from cradle to the grave a series of unbroken risks. Those who desire to reach and keep their places at the top in any calling must be prepared to do so the hard way. I have come to learn from personal experience that failure and defeat always serve as springboard for greater achievement. Those of us placed in a position of leadership must be prepared to grasp the nettle if we unite in doing so. It is safer and wiser to cure unhealthy rivalry than to suppress it. Violence never settled anything right." Do you believe that it is me that's saying this is the quote? And when I got to this quote, I sort of said, well, but honestly, we found that we had no choice but to do that if we are to keep this country one. But it was not done out of hatred of any of your nationals. So, again, I quote, it says, "Violence never solve anything right. Apart from injuring your own soul, it injures the best cause. Let's keep busy at our desk thinking about the problems of Nigeria and providing solutions to them. After rain comes sunshine. After darkness comes the glorious dawn. Only the deep can call to the deep." End of quote. This is Chief Obafemi Awolowo. It's a lesson to the young people, it's a lesson to the leadership, and it's a lesson to us all. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. And as I've said, really, it is the lecturer that certainly will do the main task of today. So I look forward to hearing from him the advice he will give